Ci vorrebbero delle conoscenze, ecco che ci vorrebbe.
Cinema didn't start because Cinecittà was built. The entertainment industry existed in Rome, well, since the Colosseum, I guess, but also with opera and with the stage. So Rome is the second cinema city after Hollywood.
Ciao Marcello.
Ciao Pierone.
Cinecittà Studios is 65 years old. It was built in 1937. Actually, Mussolini wanted it because he already understood the power of communications at that time. Maybe not for the right reasons, but anyhow. So it's 99 acres, 22 stages, and it is a full-service studio. So you can actually walk in with your idea or your script and walk out with your film or your DVD. This is stage 5. It's actually a famous stage because Federico Fellini always wanted to shoot his films here, and he shot most of his films at Cinecittà. He sort of lived here.
Vado pure qua. Se intanto volete accomodarvi faccio il caffè. Ci vorrebbero delle conoscenze, ecco che ci vorrebbe. Mi scusi tanto, sa signor, ma so 2 anni che ho fatto la domanda via Giuseppe Verdi e ancora è che me qua. Allora intanto magari accendo il fornello,
Inside this tent is the submarine that was used for U-571. It was actually placed in stage 5 in a gimbal to give it all the movements. The length is the original length of a real submarine. It's about 3 feet larger than a real one. And each piece is on a rail, so you can separate each piece, and also the sides come out. So it was obviously built just to be, you know, a movie set. So we actually used it a few times afterwards. So we're keeping it as the only submarine in Europe. Here we can build a set in 6 weeks because we can get 4,000 people working for that amount of time, and so your costs are lower, so that you can put money in other things. When we do market the studio, we always mention that Rome is the second cinema city in the world. So you have 200 assistant directors. Like 4 films like Martin Scorsese's Gangs of New York could come to Rome, and we could satisfy all 4 productions, if not more. There are thousands and thousands of people working in the industry in Rome. A lot of people remember it as sort of a grand old lady and don't realize that we are a very modern studio. We have the biggest digital facility in Europe right now. We've invested a lot of money in it, and we're totally ready to even beam films to cinemas. So when everything takes off digitally, which we think is going to happen in the next 7 to 10 years, we're ready to do that.
Much of our movies are Italian movies. We go outside Italy, so in European work and United States work. In Europe, of course, work with the work of my father. In American movie, we have a great opportunity to start with that kind of world on Dune, the miniseries, the Frank Herbert's Dune miniseries for, I think it's ABC. And now we go in movie, United States movie with The Exorcist. This is, of course, a great opportunity for us. We have one of our visual effects supervisors, that is Paolo Zeccara, that is on The Exorcist during all the shooting. And then we are now making 100 cut of the movie, so 50% of the effects of the movie. We love to work in visual effects. I mean, not just a factory. I need these effects, but work in a great partnership with the director, the cinematographer, and all the art department directly from the beginning of the movie. This, I think, is the great difference between Italian standard and, let's say, American standard.
Besides the international marketing office here in Rome, we have an office in Los Angeles, we have an office in New York, and we're just opening an office in London. Yes, you definitely have to go and pitch. You have to tell them what's new. We have to tell them what's being offered. You have to, reassure them that coming to Italy is okay.
Just like a paper movie poster. If no one walks up to the poster, we then can say, if it reaches this 20-second threshold, move, and it's a beckoning state. It's some subtle movement that would catch the eye of a consumer or a movie patron that's in the lobby that just saw that Mel Gibson winked at them.
We work with photographers and directors who really want to do things different than the mainstream guys or girls.
Don't worry, it's all right.
Impossible!
It's a small town, Amsterdam, in the end. There are only 6 or 7 agencies who really make nice work. And but compared to the rest of the world, it's quite creative, I think.
Know what you're getting into. Lotto, the biggest risk of becoming a millionaire.
I do mainly commercials, advertising, mainly humor, funny stuff. I like characters, actors. Like one where old people are in an old people's home and they're playing cards and they're cheating and they're trying to signal each other with their fake tooth.
He's very precise. He's never satisfied. So that the background, the actors, everything has to be in combination, in the right combination. He has a very good sense of humor.
You're luckier than you think. Try the new scratch game from the Dutch Scratch Card Lottery.
There's one all-time favorite, and it was made by Jeroen, and that won actually a prize. It was for Germany. It's a doctor taking out a baby that's just been born, so we see everything through the legs of the mom.
In Amsterdam, it's very small, it's very tight, and it's a limited group of people are just working for big agencies, which at times is unfortunate because there are lots of good photographers who don't get any jobs. What can be nice is if there's like a lot of freedom, so I can actually make my own pictures for commercial clients. And just I want to try to keep my own identity in the pictures. It's very luxurious to just go out and have a look in a place you don't know and just explore it by taking pictures. You never know what's going to be around the next corner. So the way I take pictures does hold a lot of surprise.
You have the commercial part and the non-commercial part. It's more where the photographers work, and where we now got into is the developing of the directors their own projects, and we're sending them to festivals.
Whenever I've done a commercial, we save some money and I do my own short film. There's one I recently did, which is called Cheap Blues. It's about a guy who lives in his own ass. I kind of like that because it's bizarre and it's about nothing. I hate the little stories that have a really nice clue and a really nice this and that. And this is something that leaves you with a big question mark. I think the more experience you get, or the bigger your show reel becomes, or the more they think you have a style, the more you get chosen for the job. So in the end, you get more and more freedom. And now it's quite okay. They just leave me alone for a little bit.
Cinema is only 100 years old, and being only 100 years old and a multi-billion-dollar industry, it's still based on technology of shining light through plastic on a wall. As a storytelling medium, it has no awareness of its audience. here is a staple marketing tool that all the movie studios use. They have a standard poster case. They line the walls of all the theaters, and generally they mail by paper movie posters to the theaters. Some employee opens the door and changes the poster. If we could take the existing poster case, replace it with a digital display, put it on a network, and then try to build some intelligence in the poster that would allow us to give us some sort of reporting back to the studio, but also the customization of the content to the consumer.
If nothing happened for a few seconds, the poster would change, some type of movement where it's beckoning you. It's something out of the corner of your eye sees Mel Gibson wink at you, or clouds moving, or something happens on that poster to kind of draw your attention to it and bring you closer. And as you get closer to the smart display, you trigger the full-blown event, which would include sound and full motion, could be a full trailer.
The X2 poster right now would be still. It would, when I walk in front of it, it would turn on the audio, sense that I'm here, and it's able to report back to the studio how many people are standing in front of it, what time, for how long, and what distance. Advertisers really don't know who's sitting in that couch when that ad's playing. They just know that there's 8 million people watching this particular show on Thursday night, and so that would be prime time, and so therefore they're willing to pay to shove an ad there. And the fact is whether someone's getting up to get a drink of water or not paying attention or not even interested in the product doesn't benefit anyone.
A paper campaign requires an expensive distribution channel. With the ThinkPic system, it's digitally distributed all throughout the network. So in terms of cost, it's really a lot more efficient process.
Good time, great taste. Here's the spot. Good time, great taste. That's why this is our place.
Typically, McDonald's has owned the moms and the young children. But as the demographics change, we need to start to realign ourselves for McDonald's. Although we are the #1 choice for young adults today, we believe there's an opportunity to engage them in a stronger relationship than ever before.
Rock to the beat, I'm loving it. At the end of the day,
over a cliff. It's fantastically democratic technology to make a small amount of people a lot of money.
I'm loving it.
McDonald's been around for 50 years. People have a certain view of the brand, and you can't make wholesale changes overnight. You have to transition, and so that was the whole purpose of the teaser campaigns.
I'm loving it. As frail as I stand, she still sees a He-Man.
Ich liebe es, denn egal was geschieht, mein Leben ist Musik, niemals stoppen, Marie.
When you look at McDonald's advertising over the years, music has played a predominant role.
McDonald's! Oh, McDonald's! At McDonald's! McDonald's!
Unlike a lot of other market campaigns where they use a key celebrity as the focal point, i.e. the gap with Madonna right now, we felt that McDonald's brand can stand on itself and doesn't really need to have an endorsement in the same way.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Don't you love it too? I say this to you.
What we're trying to do with Justin is just have a connection with the young adult market through his music more than him visually. But there was an opportunity to throw him in as a teaser, so we essentially did that.
Questions cause fear, but I'll face it. Answers so close I can almost taste it.
McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Here in Canada, we embedded what's called a Easter egg in our television ad.
A 32-inch Samsung flat-screen TV.
We wanted to hide a URL address in the TV commercial, almost in a way that it appeared to be an underground. If you looked at it the first time, maybe you weren't sure what you saw, and then once you did see what it was, you weren't sure if you were supposed to see that.
When you actually go online, you had an experience with technology called artificial intelligence, where you would communicate with this voice, or this woman, in our case, called Alex, and she would ask you a series of provocative questions.
Are you allowed to talk to strangers? Well, that's right. Have you ever been desired? I'm not surprised.
We did it to really not resemble what they're familiar with McDonald's in the least. We wanted it to feel underground. It's not a splashy, colorful site. It's done in 2 colors, and there's almost a crudeness to the level of art which we went for purposely, so that it would seem like, well, this can't possibly be a corporate McDonald's website.
Your polite style is very nice. Or, I find your honesty refreshing.
To really try and talk to this target, which is a hard target to talk because they're very cynical as well, certainly with some larger corporations. So to be able to do that in a way that is talking to them and not down to them.
On the contrary, I am winning.
The whole concept of our campaign is to make us relevant, make us cool, and to basically get consumers to the point where they should start expecting the unexpected from McDonald's.
One of the things kids don't realize is that advertisers are spending $2 billion a year targeting them. Not just their parents, not their grandparents, not their teachers, not adults, but kids specifically. And they're targeting kids not only for the money that kids spend on clothes and food and toys and games, but on the influence that kids wield on their parents. So advertisers are now advertising in kids' magazines, but they're advertising cars, even though kids are too young and don't buy cars, but they want the kids to influence their parents. We gotta have this car. This is the coolest car. The other thing is that kids see tens of thousands of commercials on TV every year, and 90% of those commercials are actually for fast food. And so, number one, the kids are stationary, more or less, because they're watching TV as opposed to playing soccer or running around. And secondly, they're inundated with this mantra of eat now, eat sugar, eat candy, eat fat. And so the combination is pretty tough.